Welcome back to Lavender Recap. In today's video, we'll be going through an American horror movie from the year 2019 titled Us. If you're visiting this channel for the first time, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The year is 1986, and a young girl watches a commercial for the Hands Across America demonstration where citizens are asked to join hands for 15 minutes for public fundraising. In Santa Cruz, California, the young girl, whose name is Adelaide Thomas, goes to the beach with her parents, Rain and Russell Thomas, while on a trip. At the carnival at Santa Cruz Boardwalk that night, Russell wins a Michael Jackson Thriller t-shirt and gifts it to Addie. As he proceeds to play whack-a-mole, Addie wanders away from her parents. She sees a homeless man holding a Jeremiah 11:11 placard as she weaves her way through the carnival. She enters a funhouse nearby, and soon she's terrified by the mirrors and the eerie vibe of the place. Suddenly, out of nowhere, she comes face to face with her doppelganger. The incident has clearly scared the wits out of her, and she refuses to talk to her parents. A therapist advises them to make Addie tell her story through any medium, be it dance, reading, or writing. Cut to the present day, a grown-up Adelaide Wilson goes on a trip to the beach with her husband Gabriel Wilson and their kids Zora and Jason. The children's beloved grandmother had passed away, and they needed a trip to divert their minds. While the family is having lunch at the beach house, Addie reveals that she's still terrified of the idea of going to the beach after the incident that took place in her childhood. She refuses to join her husband and kids at the beach. After some persuasion, she reluctantly agrees to join them. On the way, they see a man being taken into an ambulance. It's the same homeless man with a Jeremiah 11:11 placard that Addie had encountered as a little girl. At the beach, the Wilsons meet their friends Kitty and Josh Tyler and their twin daughters Maggie and Gwen. While the kids play together at the beach, Kitty and Addie talk about the latter's soft-spoken nature and her interest in ballet. Jason wanders off from the group and runs into a man with outstretched arms that are dripping with blood. The man is eerily similar to the homeless man who was being wheeled off in the ambulance. On noticing that her son is missing, Addie panics, and after finding Jason, she decides that it's high time they all return to the beach house. That night, Addie confides in Gabe that she has not yet dealt with her childhood trauma and is worried that the events of the day are signs that her doppelganger will come to get her. He tells her not to worry, but just then, the house is plunged into darkness as the power goes off. Gabe gets ready to turn on the generator, but Jason tells his parents that there's a family dressed in red jumpsuits waiting in the driveway. Addie attempts to call 911, while Gabe tries to scare the intruders off, but in vain. The family, decked in red, breaks into the beach house, and one of them hits Gabe with a baseball bat. The others corner the rest of the Wilsons in the living area. It slowly dawns on them that the other family includes doppelgangers of themselves. The family includes Pluto, Jason's double with a scarred mouth, Red, Addie's double, Ambria, Zora's sadistic version, and Abraham, Gabe's double. Red appears to be the leader and is the only one who can speak, though in a raspy, almost guttural voice. Red explains that they're called the Tethered and that they share a soul with their lookalikes. She then says that they're there to untether themselves. She tells them the story of a girl who lives a life of joy and comfort, like a princess, whereas her shadow has to stay in the dark, living a painful mirrored version of the girl's life and hating her for it. The Tethered then proceed to separate the Wilsons and torment them. Addie's doppelganger forces her to handcuff herself to her table. She then makes Zora run away from the house, with her doppelganger, Umbria, running behind her in a hot pursuit. Jason is asked to join his double to play, whereas Gabe is dragged away to a boat by Abraham. After running far ahead, Zora thinks she has outrun Umbria, only to see her suddenly on top of a car. A neighbor notices the commotion outside and confronts the two girls, but Umbria murders him with her scissors. Zora escapes. Abraham drags the knocked-out Gabe to the family's boat and places him in a bag. Fortunately, Gabe wakes up midway and proceeds to throw his doppelganger overboard. Later, he falls into the water when the boat's engine fails, and as he attempts to climb the boat again, Abraham pulls him back into the water. The two struggle, and Gabe manages to turn the boat's engine on, and Abraham is completely eviscerated. Back at the beach house, Jason guides Pluto in a closet and notices that the latter mirrors his actions almost simultaneously. It takes off Pluto's mask and notices that his face is burned off. Jason performs a magic trick, impressing Pluto. When he asks him to repeat the trick, Jason successfully traps him in the closet and runs away. Meanwhile, Red is holding Addie hostage in the living room, and she attempts to slam her face into the glass table. However, the commotion created by Jason's escape distracts her, and she goes to check on Pluto. Addie manages to get a fireplace poker and destroys the table's leg. She grabs Jason and runs out. Soon they're reunited with Gabe and Zora, and the Wilsons escape by a boat with Pluto and Red watching on. At the Tylers, Kitty notices something outside, but it turns out that Jason was just messing with her. Their twins come out to talk with them, and just even everything seems alright, a set of their doppelgangers wearing red jumpsuits attack them and kill the whole family. The Wilsons arrive at their home seeking help, but Kitty's double drags Addie into the house as Gabe tries to distract Josh's one. After a brief fight, the Wilsons manage to kill the Tylers' doppelgangers and turn on the news to find out what's going on. They find frantic reports from all over the world that doubles clad in red had been appearing out of nowhere and killing people. They had joined together to hold hands, similar to the Hands Across America advert that Addie had seen as a young girl. The Wilsons decide to escape and keep moving and not seek refuge in the house. They decide to take the Tylers' car, but just as they get to the car, Ombre appears. Following a chase, they manage to kill her by speeding up and abruptly stopping the vehicle, causing her to fly and smash her head into a tree. By then, it's morning and the Wilsons finally reach the boardwalk. Here, they see their original car burning, blocking the road with Pluto looking on. Addie decides to get out and walk towards him, but soon she realizes it's a trap. Jason, recalling that Pluto mirrors whatever he does, walks backward, and so Pluto walks into the burning car, killing himself. Just when the family breathes a sigh of relief, Red comes and grabs Jason. Addie follows them, whereas Gabe and Zora find that the beach is full of doppelgangers clad in red, who are joining hands. Addie follows Red to the funhouse and goes down into an underground tunnel where several rabbits are roaming free. Inside one of the rooms, she finds Red, who explains her plan. She explains that her underground facility had always been filled with everyone's doppelgangers and that it was their time to come to the surface now. She tells her that she has always been a part of Addie and that her being a ballet dancer as a kid is what led her out of the tunnels and into the funhouse where they had come face to face with each other. She explains that the tethered are genetic clones that were created by the government to control people on the surface for their own selfish reasons. The experiment, however, failed, and the government abandoned the doppelgangers underground for several years. They continued to mindlessly mimic their counterparts' actions and survived by eating rabbit meat. The tethered soon realized that Red was seemingly different from the others and chose her as their leader of sorts. She adds that she organized the others and made a plan to escape. She also encouraged the doppelgangers to seek out revenge by ruthlessly murdering their counterparts. Red and Addie then fight in the form of a ballet, but Red gracefully evades and counters all of the Addie's surprisingly unbalanced attacks. The latter manages to overpower the former and impales her with a fireplace poker. She then proceeds to strangle her to death and even breaks her neck. She rescues Jason from the locker, who then rescues one of the rabbits. The Wilson family finally reunites and drives away in an ambulance, hoping to escape to Mexico via the coastline. Everyone looks relieved, and Addie recalls the terrifying night when she first met Red in the Hall of Mirrors in the carnival's funhouse. In the flashback scene, the clone, Red, chokes Addie unconscious and damages her larynx in the process, which makes her voice raspy and guttural. The clone drags Addie underground, handcuffs her, and steals her Thriller t-shirt. She then goes off into the real world and eventually learns how to speak and adjust to her life as a human being. Turns out, the Adelaide we've been watching throughout the movie is the actual clone, and the real Addie was getting her revenge as Red. As they drive along, Jason looks suspiciously at his mom, possibly sensing the truth. She just gives him a sly smile and puts on his mask uneasily. The movie ends with an aerial shot that shows that the tethered have formed a human chain that replicates the Hands Across America demonstration. The human chain stretches across the US as news channels and police helicopters hover above them, surveying them. How would you react if you encountered a doppelganger of yourself? Do you think these events can take place one day in real life? Let us know in the comments below.